Hi everyone, welcome to Conversations with Michelle. Of course, I'm your host, Michelle. So tonight's conversation or topic will be sex don't fix everything. So, and this come about, I was having a discussion with a friend of mine and they were telling me about another discussion they were having with someone else. So it led me to thinking like, why do some people think sex is the answer to everything? I mean, that I do not know. Probably will never know, but it's not. So we're going to talk about that little topic right here. So, have a friend who has a friend. We all have friends, right? No, not really, but anyway, they was telling me a discussion that they were having with a guy friend of theirs, and basically she was telling him like, you know, she was bored, she needed something to do, and of course, quite naturally, his thing was have sex. Okay then. So with that being said, so if I have sex, quite naturally, after she finished, isn't she still gonna be bored? I mean, what is that supposed to fix? So their answer to that, as I was listening to the conversation, was it's a stress reliever. Is it really a stress reliever? Because I feel like this. So if I decide to have sex with you because I'm stressed, quite naturally, when we're done, whatever caused me to have that stress in the first place, that factor is still going to be there, and I'm going to be stressed all over again. So what? So are you telling me once again, because I'm right back stressed from the same thing that caused me to be stressed to begin with, I'm supposed to jump back into bed with you and have sex with you again? I don't think so. My thing is this: whatever factor is causing that stress, that's probably what you need to focus on instead of focusing on having sex. Because after sex, that stress factor is still going to be there because you felt to deal with it. So why is it that your answer to everything is sex? To me, sex only complicates matters. I don't know how everybody else feels. I know I have people out there that would differ with me, and please do. I welcome all opinions, dumb and otherwise. I don't reject anybody. I mean, my opinion isn't the only smart one that matters. I accept all opinions, no matter, you may agree, you may disagree, and that's what makes us human. We have that right to agree and disagree with each other out of love and respect for one another. So hopefully, don't be disrespectful because you can get it. Period. Point blank. But bottom line is this: sex is a problem within itself. It's not a problem solver. Because whatever problem you had before you got into that bed and started having sex with that person, that problem is still going to be there when y'all are finished. So quite naturally, nothing is solved. The problem is still there. So, I mean, what are you supposed to do now? Continue to have sex and pray that the problem goes away? Them two does not go hand in hand unless you're married. Praying and sex do not go with each other unless you're married. So if you're not married and you're praying and you still having sex, then you got bigger problems on your hand besides the one that I'm talking about. For sex trying to be a problem solver. Sex is not a problem solver. Sex is a problem maker to me because you have people that enter into relationships. Some enter into sexual relationships because that's all that they want. But some enter into relationships with the hope of having more. And once sex comes into play within that relationship, that only complicates matters and causes problems somewhere down the road. I mean, you got two people, they've had sex, now you got one person that's breaking off, don't want to do it anymore. The other person over there doesn't seem to understand why or why not. So now here's a bigger problem, and just slowly and slowly and slowly to boom, like everything just blows up. So then now what do? You left with a struggling relationship because that relationship was based off of sex when it should have never been based off sex in the first place. So what do? Do y'all part ways, try to make it work, but then seeing the only way to make it work is to continue to have sex with one another, which is never going to work because you got the person on the right, I don't want to have sex anymore, and then you got the person on the left, well, I can't be in a relationship without sex, which I don't seem to understand why you can't, but that's just me. Everybody isn't me. I feel like every relationship is worth saving, and once sex comes into play into that relationship, then that's where all your problems come into play. If you go into the relationship with the clear head and clear understanding of getting to know one another and wanting to be with one another, then you don't have to worry about sex playing a factor into that relationship. But once you go into a relationship and it's strictly based off sex, or you've had the sexual overtones before the relationship ever started, then you already knew where the other person's mind was in the first place. So you shouldn't think it would go any further. So now here you are once again with the same problems that you started off with, and they're only escalating now because you've had sex once, you've had sex twice, you had sex a plenty of times, but now you don't want to do it anymore. But sex is supposed to be the problem solver, when in actuality, it actually was the problem creator, because had you never started having sex in the first place, you wouldn't be having this problem when y'all sitting down talking and trying to discuss on which route should we go, because you got one person basically telling you, I refuse to be in a relationship and not have sex. And that's understandable. You got some people that actually feel that way, but you also got some people that feel totally different. My thing is this, like I said, sex does not solve your problems, people. Understand that. The problems that you are having before sex comes into play will be the same problems that you're having after you have sex. Once you're done with that act and it's all said and done and over with, that problem is still there. Nothing has been solved. Maybe the other person's needs have gotten met, but your needs haven't gotten met and the problem hasn't gotten solved and everything is still there. So where do you go from there? I mean, that I seriously do not understand why some people feel like sex can fix everything. You know, one person actually had the audacity, because I had to do a little bit of asking people before I did this. They actually had the audacity to tell me that if more people had sex, it would be less crime in the world. Yeah, give me a minute on that one, because that was like the dumbest thing in the world that I've ever heard. But that's what their mind frame is. So with having a mind frame like that, that could make you understand why they're still single, because everybody don't seem to feel like that. And I can guarantee you, sex is not going to solve world peace. Sex is not going to solve world hunger. Sex is not going to stop gang violence. So that could just be me, but I don't think I'm the only one that believes that, because like I said, I talked to several people, and I have several people that's on the same side I am, and I have several people that's on the dummy side. So, you know, I don't mean to call nobody a dummy, but it is what it is. If you feel like sex will solve world peace and world hunger, I mean, you got to be a pure D dummy to believe that. But at any rate, bottom line is this, and I will say this, and I stand true to my word. Like I say, I welcome all opinions, good, bad, dumb, smart. It makes me no difference. You know, that's what makes us human. That we can agree to disagree, and we can disagree with each other in harmony and without violence. Sex does not solve problems. I will repeat that for those who don't seem to understand. Sex does not solve problems. Sex creates problems. Sex creates more problems than that needed to be created. It adds to whatever problems that you have going on. It adds to those problems. If you can get into a relationship and get to know each other mentally, intellectually, then you have a foundation. But if you go into this relationship and sex is the play and sex is the foundation, you're going to sink quicker than standing in the middle of quicksand. Please understand that you're going to go down faster than anything in history. So you have to have a foundation to stand on, and sex is not going to be that foundation, because what happens when one person can't perform anymore? Then what? Good question, right? I know it is. Well, like I said, I welcome all opinions. I will rebuttal if need be. I mean, if you, like I say, any topics you want to discuss, you want to revisit this, send me a message, send me an email. I'll be more than happy to discuss this conversation with you, and we can have it. We can have this discussion, and next time I have a friend that I want to bring on, so hopefully she'll be able to join us. Once again, people, this is Conversations with Shell, and sex does not solve problems. It makes problems bigger than what they need to be. And on that note, I love you all, and I'm out. Good night. Conversation with Shell coming to an end.